Yo, minasan, and welcome to the Manga Sensei podcast and channel. I'm your host, John Sensei. Today is a great day. We're starting to talk a little bit more about advanced Japanese, some particular things regarding your Japanese resume. Today we're going to be talking about the first part of 3 of the Japanese resume, things that you should know. The first part that we're going to talk about today is called the PR. The PR is basically it's a short, usually story or experience that gives the potential employer an example of your character, usually of your ability to do something. A good example of a PR would be someone that was like, I grew my company from X to X by doing this. This is how I did it. It's usually written very similar to a Japanese essay, in fact. However, how you write it and what you write in it are very, very important. Let's break it down. The first part you should know about your PR is that it should be fairly short, 1 page at max. You don't want a long PR. This should be something that the person can see, read a little bit about you, and learn about what kind of person you are. This PR will often be asked to be read or even explained in the interview. Let me give you an example. If I was in a Japanese interview, they would ask me to read my PR and talk about it, or most likely, they'd ask me to tell me about my PR, where I would give this experience. I've done PRs, for example, on helping grow companies from X to X and followers on some social media, or for helping grow their podcast, for example, as I have grown mine. This is my little story. Now, what I'll most likely do is what I mentioned at the beginning and what I mentioned at the end are going to be the very same thing. And these are going to be used to relay my feelings and also relay how this can benefit, how I want to benefit this company. It's angled towards the company, and that's a very, very important part. One thing to identify when doing this is some particular vocabulary that you should probably use. Things like watashi should be used over boku. Things like mas and des should be used instead of plain form Japanese. This is the Japanese you most likely learned in school, and this is the time where it actually becomes very useful. An example of this would be instead of saying, 観客が2000人からどこどこまでに伸ばしました. Nobashimashita would be a great example of how I would use my own humble form of Japanese, say a nobita, instead of just saying it grew or extended to that percentage. This is also a really good time to almost brag on yourself. Japanese is a very humble society, and often you're either raising up the other person or you're lowering your own personal status so that you can benefit or show honor to a person, or even just respect to a person. Both are just fine. However, the great part about this PR, it allows you to explain how you can be a benefit and how you have experienced doing this in the past. This could be raising your Japanese GLPT test scores from N3 to N2. This could be simple as joining the school paper, or simply talking and getting a sales meeting. Any of this is just fine, but you want to give about a 5-paragraph, very short and succinct essay about what your benefit is to this company. Now, how does this differ from a normal English cover letter? English cover letter, you're usually explaining things that aren't found on your resume. This should be used to more embellish your resume. Mention and highlight things that are on there so they can focus in on what you believe is most important for them. Another very important thing about this PR is because it's written down, it also gives them an idea of, 1, your writing capacity as a foreigner, and 2, it allows you to almost become more personal for them. As Japanese businesses, many of the kaisha in Japan are very, very strict and rigorous. This is a very good opportunity to kind of break that barrier down a little bit and show them your creative side. Now, the last thing I'll mention about the Japanese PR is to make sure you know it. Don't make things up. That's always bad on your resume, and I hear about 50% of people supposedly lie on their resume. This PR is an experience they'll ask you about, so make sure that you can mention the numbers, make sure that you can recite it to them, not necessarily verbatim, but be able to tell them the things that are on it in a way that makes you sound friendly as well as intelligent. That's very, very important. With that though, I will sign off. Make sure to follow us, like, and subscribe, and 覚えておきなさい。もし日本語でペレペレになりたいなら間違えてください。それでじゃあまた明日。